The MCU has been filled with dozens of heroes, great storylines, and some classic films, but no matter how good the movies are, there has been one thing missing over all of these years: the X-Men. Owned by 20th Century Fox, the mutant heroes have been absent from the MCU, but things could change in the near future, and Ant-Man and the Wasp has some signs of these changes. Could Janet van Dyne be the first MCU X-Men? Watch our theory to see how and why, but be warned, there are a few major spoilers ahead. And before you watch, click subscribe. You'll join our notification squad and be the first to know of new Screen Rant content.
Mutation. It is the key to our evolution. But every few hundred millennia, evolution leaps forward.
The Marvel Comics universe has the ability to print and create any crossover they deem fit for publication. We've seen Deadpool and Thanos, Wolverine and Spider-Man, and several other crossovers over the years. Movie contracts and rights to characters are a little more complicated than that.
Agreed?
Long before the formation of the MCU, the rights to the cinematic versions of the X-Men were sold to 20th Century Fox. Because of this deal, Disney's formation of the MCU has left the whole mutant world absent. So much so that Disney can't even use the word mutant. Once Disney acquired the rights to Sony's Spider-Man, hope began to form that the X-Men and a deal with 20th Century Fox could follow suit.
You actually go outside in these things? What would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
Disney actually plans on taking things one step further by purchasing a majority of 20th Century Fox and gaining the X-Men in the process. Movies like Ant-Man and the Wasp could start to hint and build at the foundation of the mutant world our favorite X-Men could form from. The closest thing the MCU has ever gotten to featuring X-Men are the siblings Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. The duo has been showcased in current X-Men films, but the MCU re-established their origin story so their powers were formed from Hydra experiments rather than true mutant powers. Because of this, one of the first mutant X-Men characters to appear in the MCU may very well be Janet van Dyne. The former Wasp made a brief appearance in the first Ant-Man film where we learned her fate after she vanished into the quantum realm to help prevent a large missile from exploding. 31 years later, Janet van Dyne is rescued from the quantum realm thanks to Scott Lang, but she is a much different person from when she first entered. The quantum energy found in the realm has given Janet a lot more abilities than just the ones found in the Wasp's suit. As revealed in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Janet has quantum entanglement. Because of Scott's interaction with her from the first Ant-Man film, they are connected, and Janet is able to send him messages through multiple forms, including psionically through electronics and through dreams.
It's awesome, you know? I'm gonna make some tea.
Janet reveals the other two powers established in the quantum realm: particle manipulation and healing. During one of the climactic scenes of Ant-Man and the Wasp, we see Janet use her quantum healing to help Ghost and remove the pain she has suffered all these years. All of Janet's powers are very reminiscent of mutant X-Men powers, but it's not just the skills displayed on the screen that convince us that she's the first of the MCU X-Men. The majority of the X-Men have not obtained their powers through experiments or special suits. They are merely an evolution of genetics, and evolution is the key word to listen for in Ant-Man and the Wasp. As Janet describes her changes in the quantum realm, she discusses how it changed her, and the evolution was a big part of it. She was not only referring to herself, but the evolution of the X-Men as a whole. See, the quantum realm is not just a way to connect Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, and a whole lot of time travel theories. It may be the foundation of the X-Men in the MCU, and Janet van Dyne could serve as the very first MCU mutant. With Scott Lang lingering in the quantum realm following the Ant-Man and the Wasp post-credit sequences, we're also anxious to see what evolutionary changes he could go under. Scott could very well be considered the second X-Men, or maybe the spot is already reserved for Ghost. The escape of quantum energy in the world of the MCU may result in a mutant evolution and several other characters gaining powers down the line. The parallel story with Ant-Man and the Wasp feels very similar to when the first film was released in 2015. In the original Ant-Man, the character of Luis is played by Michael Pena, and he delivered an important line of dialogue that represented the future of the MCU. Near the end of the movie, Luis states,
Well, we got everything nowadays. We got a guy who jumps, we got a guy who swings, we got a guy who crawls up the walls. You gotta be more specific.
One of the clear references in the dialogue is to the character of Spider-Man, but by the time Ant-Man was released, Sony Pictures and Disney had not yet announced their shared efforts to allow Spider-Man to enter the MCU. Luis was used to showcase the future and plant seeds for Spider-Man's arrival. Luis may also hint at the arrival of the X-Men. In Ant-Man and the Wasp, Luis and his crew of henchmen now run a company called X-Con. Could it be more than just a clever pun? We certainly think so. For more proof of the theory, you just need to look at the source material and pages of Marvel Comics. Janet Van Dyne has been a natural-born leader since the very beginning and has had multiple journeys with the X-Men along the way. Although the cinematic version differs, Janet was actually one of the founding members of the Avengers along with Hank Pym, so much so that in the comics, she was the one who actually came up with the name. After denying the character's founding of the MCU Avengers, producers may give her the chance to build a group of mutants and form the X-Men. With the proper story arc and introductions, fans could willingly accept multiple ways for the X-Men to join the MCU, even if the comic book history is muddled a little bit. Not only has Janet been involved with superhero groups like the Avengers, but she has also had multiple crossover stories with the X-Men over the years. She was a big part of the Avengers vs. X-Men series and went on to team up with Wolverine in the Avengers and Axis storyline. Their chemistry was great and could help lead to an official Wolverine appearance in the MCU. Wolverine would be one of the most anticipated characters fans look forward to. Recasting the role would come with a lot of pressure for the actor, but joining the ranks of Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, and Paul Rudd could really help add to their performance and allow them to stand out.
I'm pretty sure he was talking to you, bub.
Well, what am I supposed to do?
We now know Janet's role in the comics, but how would Janet Van Dyne serve as the first X-Men and help mend the MCU and X-Men franchises together? Everything points back to the quantum realm. The MCU could choose to completely reboot and recast everything. The X-Men franchise as we know it today could serve as a standalone franchise separate from the MCU story arc. Through Janet's journey, we may see more people impacted by the quantum realm and the slow revelation of mutant characters over time. This would lead the next phase of the MCU into a whole other batch of new origin stories. Following in the footsteps of solo films like Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man, we could see new origin stories for recast characters like Wolverine, Storm, and Cyclops. Eventually, they would all form together in a group X-Men film similar to the Avengers.
You ready for this? Let's find out.
Janet Van Dyne could also choose to go public with her quantum powers and draw out other heroes from the woodworks. Because of the way society is, it would be all too natural for mutants in the MCU to hide their powers for years and not get involved with any of the heroic efforts. Janet's revelation of her healing powers could lead to the arrival of mutants looking to get healed themselves. From there, it's easy to add multiple X-Men to the MCU and showcase the lives they've lived while trying their best to hide their powers. Everything will revolve around Janet and her ability to showcase the powers and spread them to the world. Just like when T'Challa decided to reveal Wakanda and their advanced technology, Janet could do the same and see the positive actions of her decisions.
McAvoy or Stewart? These timelines are so confusing.
Of course, there is the option of using the characters and actors we already know to create some epic crossovers. Janet Van Dyne and characters like Scott Lang could explore the quantum realm further and use it to reach the wider multiverse. The MCU could confirm the existence of multiple universes, with the whole X-Men franchise taking place in a completely different Earth. One sign that points to more acceptance of building the multiverse is in the upcoming Marvel film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. By giving audiences a hint at the multiverse through that film, the MCU has a chance to expand on it greatly and introduce the X-Men in any way they please. The multiverse storyline has multiple ways of moving forward and would be one of the best ways to have a lot of current X-Men actors return to their roles. For example, we could see Jennifer Lawrence, Ryan Reynolds, and James McAvoy all appear in the MCU as the same characters from the X-Men franchise. The older and wiser Janet Van Dyne will have the opportunity to serve as a mentor and leader to the new MCU mutants thanks to her knowledge, ability, and 3 decades spent inside the quantum realm. Her role could be very similar to Professor X, where she recruits people like Ghost and starts her own mutant school, or at least helps Professor X run his. Janet Van Dyne has been one of the more interesting characters to debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the movie has only tapped into the surface of where she could possibly go from here. Of course, we are assuming she will be rescued in the Avengers 4 after Thanos' snap turned her into dust during the post-credit sequence of Ant-Man and the Wasp, but time will only tell when the mutants officially arrive in the MCU.
And we stand together. X-Men. All of us.
So there you have it. Do you agree with this theory? What X-Men do you want to see most in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And how do you think the X-Men should be introduced? Let us know in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to Screen Rant for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you at the movies.